Here we have AP calculus AB problem. Okay, let's go the information. Find dy over dx for 5x square negative 2xy positive 7y square equals to 0. Actually, it is an implicit function. So what is it implicit function? So like for example, let's consider a function defined by y in terms of x, something like 2x square positive 5x positive 6. So here this equation has been solved for y in terms of x. So whenever an equation is solved for y in terms of x, it's called explicit function, and the derivative we do over here is called explicit derivative. But in our equation, I mean the equation we have in our problem has not been solved for y in terms of x. So it's not explicit function, it is implicit function. Okay, so how do you have to find dy over dx for this one? So first let's understand what is dy over dx. Dy over dx means we have to find derivative of y with respect to x. So now what I have to do is I have to find derivative of this equation on both sides with respect to x. So and then I have to solve for dy over dx. Okay, let me write the given equation as it is. It is 5x square negative 2xy positive 7y square equals to 0. Now let's write differentiate with respect to x on both sides. Okay, now let's do derivative of this one with respect to x. 5 is a constant multiplied by the variable. So when I find derivative, if there is a constant multiplied by the variable, I have to keep the constant as it is, and I have to get the derivative of x square with respect to x. And then I'm getting 2x negative. So here again 2 is a constant multiplied by the variable part. So now what I have to do is I have to keep the constant 2 as it is. Now here x and y, two variables are multiplied. So when I find derivative, if two variables are multiplied, I have to use the product rule. What is product rule? So let me write the product rule over here. Let me consider two variables u and v, and u and v are multiplied. I want to find derivative of this product u and v. So for that, what I have to do is I have to keep the first variable as it is, get the derivative of the second variable, positive. Now I have to get the derivative of the first variable, keep the second variable as it is. This is called product rule. Okay, now I'm going to use the product rule to get derivative of this product x times y with respect to x. So I keep the first variable x as it is. When I find derivative of the second variable y with respect to x, it will become dy over dx positive. Now I'm going to get the derivative of the first variable x with respect to x. It will just become 1, and I keep the second variable y as it is, positive. So here 7 is a constant multiplied by the variable part. I have to keep the constant as it is. So when I find derivative of this y square, first I have to do derivative for the exponent 2 using the power rule. Power rule means I have to bring this exponent 2 in front of the variable and subtract 1 from the exponent. So 2 negative 1 is just 1. Whenever the exponent is 1, we don't mention it. So we can leave it. So far I have completed derivative only for the exponent 2 over here. Now by chain rule, I have to further derivative for the base y with respect to x. When I find derivative of this base y with respect to x, it will become dy over dx equals to 0. Okay, now 5 times 2x is 10x negative. So now what we can actually we can distribute this negative 2 to this stuff and this stuff. When I distribute this negative 2 to this x times dy over dx, I'm getting negative 2 times x times dy over dx. This 1 times y is just y, negative 2 times y is negative 2y, positive 7 times 2y is 14y times dy over dx equals to 0. Okay, now what we can do in the next step is like we can get rid of the terms which do not contain dy over dx, because we have to solve for dy over dx. So this 10x and this negative 2y do not contain dy over dx. So let's try to get rid of them. For that I have to subtract 10x from both sides, and also I have to add 2y to both sides. Let me do it. When I do so, here this positive 10x, negative 10x will cancel out, negative 2y positive will cancel out. So these two terms are contain dy over dx, and this one is having positive sign. So we can write this term at first, that is 14y times dy over dx, and this one contains negative. We can write negative 2x times dy over dx. On the right side, here negative 10x positive 2y, we can write the positive term first, and we get 2y negative 10x. Okay, now what we can do is we can factor dy over dx from this expression. So if I factor dy over dx from this expression, so I have 14y left in the first term and negative 2x left in the second term equals to 2y negative 10x. Okay, now let me write the same stuff over here. That is dy over dx times 14y negative 2x equals to 2y negative 10x. Okay, since our aim is to solve for dy over dx, we have to get up this one which is multiplied by dy over dx. So for that I divide both sides by 14y negative 2x. Let me write the stuff over here. Okay, this 14y negative 2x will cancel out. and dy over dx equals to, so when you look at the expression over here, both the terms have the greatest common divisor 2, so we can factor 2 out. If I factor 2 out, then I'm getting y negative 5x inside the parenthesis, and in denominator also, this expression like the 14y and negative 2x, both of them have the greatest common divisor 2, so we can factor 2 out. If 2 is factored, I'm getting 7y negative x. So then this 2 will cancel out, then we get dy over dx equals to y negative 5x over 7y negative x.